The mist rolls across the port of Bremerhaven, Germany. In the pale morning light, something massive appears through the fog, a colossal ship, its hull painted bright red and white, with 4 letters gleaming across its side, BYD. It's China's first dedicated car carrier arriving on European soil, and it's sending shockwaves through the continent. This is no ordinary ship. It's called the BYD Explorer No.1, a floating powerhouse carrying more than 7,000 electric vehicles straight from China's ports to the heart of Europe. For decades, Europe ruled the roads home to automotive legends like BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and Volkswagen. But today, the roles are reversing. The exporter has become the importer. The teacher is now the student. And for the first time, Europe isn't sure if it can keep up. As the massive ramp lowers and the first cars begin to roll out, cameras flash and onlookers stare. Each BYD vehicle is sleek, quiet, and futuristic. They look nothing like the cheap, underpowered cars people once associated with China. These are polished, efficient machines built for Europe's demanding drivers. And their arrival represents a turning point, one that's making boardrooms across the continent very nervous. BYD, short for Build Your Dreams, has risen from an ambitious battery maker to one of the world's largest electric vehicle manufacturers. Its success didn't happen overnight. It's the result of relentless innovation, deep control over its supply chain, and China's aggressive investment in EV technology. The Blade battery, a BYD invention, has become famous for its safety, durability, and cost-effectiveness. That one innovation alone helped BYD scale faster than almost any competitor on Earth. Europe's automakers, once confident in their luxury and engineering dominance, are suddenly facing an uncomfortable truth. While they were debating electric transitions, BYD was perfecting them. While they struggled with costs, China was reducing them. Now, BYD's models the Seal, the Atto 3, and the Dolphin are entering European showrooms at prices that undercut local brands by as much as €15,000. And they're not lacking in quality or features. They are fully electric, packed with the latest tech, and designed with European taste in mind. The mood in Europe's car industry is shifting from pride to panic. Inside boardrooms, executives discuss new tariffs, government intervention, and subsidy investigations. Politicians call for action, claiming unfair competition. But beneath those discussions lies a quiet realization: this isn't just about pricing. It's about power. BYD isn't just exporting cars. It's exporting control over the future of mobility. China's strategy is painfully clear: dominate the EV sector by owning every step of production, from the raw lithium in the ground to the finished vehicle on the ship. With its own car carriers, like the BYD Explorer No.1, the company doesn't need to rely on European shipping or logistics networks. It's a complete ecosystem, efficient, centralized, and independent. That's something legacy automakers can't easily replicate. In France, Spain, and Germany, curious customers walk into showrooms to see what the fuss is about. They test drive BYD cars, expecting flaws but find none. The interiors feel premium, the drive is smooth, and the software experience rivals even Tesla's. The question quickly changes from "who is BYD?" to "why haven't we heard about them sooner?" Waiting lists start to form. Word spreads fast. The symbolism of that ship docking in Germany is impossible to ignore. For more than a century, Europe's automotive identity has been a source of national pride. But the rise of electric vehicles has rewritten the rules. The future isn't about heritage anymore. It's about who can innovate faster, who can produce cheaper, and who can think bigger. And in that new world, China has already taken the lead. European brands are struggling to adapt. Their factories were built for combustion engines, their supply chains depend on old systems, and their transition to EVs is slow and expensive. BYD, on the other hand, was built for this era from the start. Its production lines are driven by robotics, powered by renewable energy, and guided by AI optimization. Every part of its process screams efficiency. Behind the gleaming showrooms and glossy commercials lies a deeper fear: jobs. Europe's traditional car industry employs millions. If Chinese EVs flood the market, what happens to all those workers, suppliers, and engineers? Can they transition fast enough, or will they become casualties of this new industrial revolution? That's the unspoken question haunting Europe's auto giants tonight. BYD's arrival also represents a philosophical change. For decades, technology flowed west to East Europe and America led, and the rest followed. But this ship, carrying thousands of Chinese-built electric cars, flips that narrative completely. Now innovation is sailing in the other direction. From Shenzhen to Hamburg. From Asia to Europe. To some, this is progress global competition that pushes everyone to do better. To others, it feels like a takeover, a loss of technological sovereignty. Either way, the fact remains, BYD's presence in Europe can no longer be ignored. The first ship is here, and more are coming. Each one brings thousands of vehicles silent, efficient, and unstoppable. As the last of the cars roll off the BYD Explorer No.1, the German sky begins to clear. The ship's crew waves proudly, knowing they've just made history. Dock workers watch as the new fleet of Chinese EVs drives quietly into Europe's future, a future that looks cleaner, smarter, and undeniably different. For BYD, this moment marks victory. For Europe, it's a wake-up call. The electric revolution is no longer coming, it's already here, and it's arriving by the shipload. The waves crash gently against the port as the massive vessel prepares to leave. It's not just carrying cars, it's carrying a message. The balance of power in the automotive world has shifted. And from this moment on, the road ahead belongs to those bold enough to redefine it. Fade to black. The port lights flicker as night falls over Bremerhaven. The BYD Explorer No.1, still towering against the docks, hums quietly with the low vibration of its massive engines. Cranes move slowly, unloading the final rows of cars, each wrapped in protective film, each destined for a new home somewhere in Europe. The rhythmic sounds of machinery echo across the harbor. But beneath that mechanical symphony, there's something else, a subtle tension. A sense that the old world and the new one are meeting face to face for the first time. Reporters gather near the dock fence, cameras flashing. The story is already spreading through European media networks. China's BYD lands in Germany, electric shock to Europe's auto industry. Is this the beginning of the end for European dominance? Some journalists speak with excitement, others with concern. One thing is certain, everyone knows this arrival marks a historical turning point. Across town, in the offices of a major German automaker, a board meeting runs late into the night. The screens display market trends, sales data, and projections. Someone points at a chart, a red line representing BYD's European growth curve. It's steep, almost vertical. No one speaks for a few seconds. Then a quiet voice asks, if they're already this strong now, what happens when they build here? The room falls silent. Because everyone knows that's exactly what's coming next. Back in China, BYD's headquarters in Shenzhen glows brightly even after midnight. Engineers monitor global shipments in real time. A digital world map fills the screen, dotted with tiny moving icons, each representing a BYD ship crossing oceans, delivering electric vehicles to Asia, South America, and now, Europe. A notification pops up, Explorer No.1 docked successfully in Bremerhaven. Applause fills the room. It's not just a shipment, it's a statement of capability. The European press describes it as a symbolic invasion. But to BYD, it's simply the next step in a global mission to make electric mobility accessible to everyone. No borders, no middlemen, no delays. Every move is planned. Every detail calculated. Even the timing of the ship's arrival aligns with new EU policies promoting electric cars and phasing out gasoline engines. It's strategic brilliance wrapped in silence. On social media, clips of the ship arriving go viral. Drone footage shows thousands of gleaming cars lined up like soldiers, ready to roll onto European soil. Comments flood in, some amazed, some defensive, some simply shocked at the scale of it all. "They're not coming," one comment reads. "They're already here." As dawn breaks the next morning, the first BYD dealerships in Germany open their doors. The Atto 3 sits proudly in the center of the showroom, a compact SUV with futuristic lines, a minimalist interior, and an unreal price tag that makes European customers look twice. A young couple walks in, curious. They'd been saving for a Volkswagen ID.4, but now they're not so sure. The salesperson smiles politely. "This one's fully electric," she says. Long range, smart connectivity, 5-star safety, and the battery lasts over 1,000,000 kilometers. The couple looks at each other. The shift begins one test drive at a time. By midday, car reviewers across Europe are uploading first impressions. Surprisingly premium, one reviewer says. Feels like a Tesla but costs much less, says another. Critics who expected flaws are left stunned by the quality, the smooth acceleration, and the advanced driver assist systems. Within hours, videos reach millions of views. People start to realize BYD isn't just a Chinese brand. It's a global contender. Meanwhile, European automakers scramble for countermeasures. Lobbyists call EU officials, urging new import taxes or safety regulations that could slow Chinese EVs down. Governments discuss incentives to protect local brands. But it's too late to stop the momentum. The tide has already turned. At ports across Europe, Rotterdam, Antwerp, Barcelona, BYD's next ships are already en route. Each one carries a new batch of electric vehicles, all custom-tailored for European roads, climates, and consumers. And soon, other Chinese manufacturers NIO Xpeng Zeekr will follow, bringing with them an entire wave of electric mobility that Europe didn't see coming fast enough. The competition intensifies. Volkswagen announces emergency restructuring. Mercedes shifts more resources into battery development. BMW accelerates its EV rollout schedule. But even with their resources, the cost gap remains enormous. Chinese EVs are built with in-house batteries, vertically integrated parts, and government-backed efficiency. European brands still depend on suppliers and costly manufacturing lines that can't pivot overnight. Across the internet, economists debate what this means for Europe's future. Is it industrial decline or a wake-up call? Analysts describe it as a technological shock, one that could redefine manufacturing priorities across the continent. European governments begin discussing partnerships with battery companies, renewable energy firms, and AI-driven logistics systems to keep up with China's pace. But the truth is, China spent the last 15 years building what Europe is only now beginning to imagine. In the following weeks, something interesting happens. European consumers start viewing Chinese cars differently. They no longer see them as cheap imitations but as smart alternatives. Social media influencers begin showing off their BYD vehicles, highlighting the interiors, range, and futuristic tech. This doesn't feel Chinese, one influencer laughs, filming the cabin lights changing color with her hand gesture. It feels like the future. The BYD Explorer No.1 remains docked in Germany for several days before returning to China. When it departs, the port workers watch silently. They know more ships are coming. This was just the beginning, the first wave of something much bigger. The horizon feels different now. The sense of change hangs heavy in the air. As the massive ship disappears beyond the horizon, the camera pans back to the rows of BYD cars driving inland, silent, clean, and confident. The roads of Europe, once symbols of homegrown engineering, now carry the hum of an entirely new origin. The landscape of power has changed. But this story doesn't end here. Because while Europe debates, BYD is already planning its next move, building factories inside Europe. Rumors swirl about new assembly plants in Hungary and Spain. Local production means no tariffs, faster logistics, and deeper market integration. Once that happens, the distinction between foreign and local will blur forever. Europe won't just be importing Chinese cars, it'll be making them. And with that, the line between dominance and dependency becomes thinner than ever. The BYD Explorer No.1 isn't just a ship. It's a symbol of how fast the world can change, of how innovation can shift across continents, and how the future doesn't wait for anyone to catch up. It moves forward, powered by those bold enough to build it. The waves crash gently against the docks once again. The night returns. A crane operator, finishing his shift, looks out at the sea and mutters quietly to himself, "This is only the beginning." Because it is. Within months of the BYD Explorer No.1's historic arrival, whispers turn into headlines. BYD confirms European factory. The location, Szeged, Hungary. It's official. China's largest electric vehicle manufacturer isn't just shipping cars to Europe anymore, it's moving in. The announcement hits the European auto industry like an earthquake. For decades, Europe was the master of car production, exporting engineering brilliance across the world. Now, one of China's most powerful companies is setting up shop in the heart of the continent, not to compete from afar, but to build from within. In Budapest, the press conference is electric. BYD's European CEO stands confidently before a crowd of journalists and flashes a smile. "We're not here to replace," he says, "we're here to transform." Behind him, digital renderings of a futuristic gigafactory light up the screen. Vast assembly lines, solar roofs, fleets of autonomous transport vehicles, and robotic arms choreographed in perfect unison. The message is clear: this is not just another factory. It's the future made real. European automakers feel the pressure instantly. Hungary, after all, isn't far from Germany, the spiritual home of Europe's car industry. Boardrooms from Stuttgart to Wolfsburg start holding daily crisis meetings. They've spent years talking about EV transformation, but now they're watching a rival build one on their doorstep. Meanwhile, in the streets, opinions are divided. Some celebrate it as a sign of progress: more jobs, more investment, more innovation. Others see it as surrender, a symbol that Europe has fallen behind in a race it once led. But whether people cheer or protest, the cranes keep moving, the concrete keeps pouring, and BYD's European dream takes shape at a staggering pace. Inside the construction site, hundreds of workers, Hungarian, Chinese, German, labor side by side. The speed is unlike anything the region has seen before. Prefabricated sections arrive daily, entire factory modules assembled in weeks. By the time most companies would still be finalizing permits, BYD's battery section is already being installed. At night, the site glows like a futuristic city, an island of light in the Hungarian countryside. Drone footage spreads across social media, showing rows of electric forklifts moving autonomously through the half-finished plant. Comment sections explode. "They're not waiting," one user writes. "They are building the future while others are still arguing about it." Inside the new factory's control room, walls of screens display data, AI-managed logistics, supply routes from China, local component sourcing, power usage, efficiency metrics. The operation runs like clockwork. BYD's vertical integration model, once a theoretical advantage, is now on full display in Europe. Everything is connected. Everything is optimized. By the time the first prototype rolls off the European production line, the world takes notice. It's a sleek, aerodynamic crossover built entirely within Europe using BYD's Blade battery and local assembly labor. The logo gleams under the spotlight as the press captures the moment. One of the executives smiles proudly and says, "Built in Europe. Powered by the future." The reaction from European automakers is mixed. Volkswagen announces an accelerated electrification plan and pledges to double its EV output. BMW invests billions into solid-state battery research. Mercedes begins talks with Chinese suppliers to cut costs. But deep down, they know the truth: BYD's efficiency can't be matched overnight. Even Tesla, watching from its Berlin gigafactory, acknowledges the shift. Elon Musk makes a rare statement during a Q&A session: "BYD's doing impressive work. Competition makes us all better." It's the first time Tesla publicly praises a Chinese rival, and it signals how serious the situation has become. Meanwhile, BYD's expansion continues beyond Hungary. Rumors emerge of talks with Spain and France for secondary assembly hubs. The company eyes the European shipping network, the same ports that once symbolized Western trade power, and begins integrating its own logistics infrastructure. It's no longer just a carmaker, it's an ecosystem expanding like wildfire. In Brussels, EU officials gather for an emergency economic summit. They discuss tariffs, subsidies, and strategic autonomy. Words like technological sovereignty and industrial resilience fill the air. But outside the chamber, European consumers are making their own decisions, quietly choosing efficiency, affordability, and innovation over tradition. In the streets of Berlin, you can already spot the difference. Where once every block was filled with Volkswagens and Audis, now BYD Dolphins and Seals glide silently past. Charging stations once empty are now occupied by sleek Chinese EVs. Taxi fleets begin switching over, attracted by low maintenance costs and long battery life. The shift isn't coming, it's already here. Across Europe's highways, BYD billboards begin appearing. A bright red seal model with the tagline, "The future has arrived." In London, a journalist writes, "We used to dream of exporting cars to China. Now we're buying them back better, cheaper, and smarter." Inside BYD's Shenzhen headquarters, executives watch Europe's transformation unfold through data dashboards. Shipments decrease, local production increases, and profits rise. The European plant is operating at full capacity, and plans are underway to build a second shipyard to support global expansion. BYD's ambition grows with each milestone. In response, Europe begins to adapt. Research centers collaborate with startups on solid-state batteries. Nations invest in renewable-powered gigafactories. But it will take time, and BYD's head start is massive. The Chinese automaker has turned what was once seen as a foreign threat into a dominant global reality. Back in Hungary, the first fleet of Europe-built BYD cars drives out of the factory gates. Workers cheer as drones record the moment. The sky glows orange from the setting sun, reflecting off thousands of metallic hoods lined up for delivery. Somewhere in the crowd, a mechanic looks up and whispers, "The world is changing faster than we ever imagined." And he's right. Because even as those cars hit the road, BYD's next generation of vehicles is already in development. Autonomous EVs designed with built-in AI co-pilots, wireless charging capability, and next-gen connectivity. Europe is only seeing the beginning of what BYD has planned. The real question now isn't whether Europe can catch up, it's whether it can survive the speed of change. The ship that arrived months ago started more than just a market shift. It ignited an industrial transformation that will echo across generations. What began as a dockside curiosity has turned into a continental reckoning. As the night falls over Hungary, the BYD factory glows with the hum of production. Robots move silently, arms synchronized in a dance of precision. Beyond the fences, the lights of the nearby highway shimmer as a convoy of new electric cars heads west toward Germany, France, and beyond. The world watches. The future moves. And Europe adjusts. As dawn breaks over Europe's highways, the quiet hum of electric motors fills the air, a sound that now defines the continent's new reality. The old guard of European automotive power stands face to face with a force it never saw coming: this fast, this efficient, this relentless. The arrival of the BYD Explorer No.1 wasn't just the docking of a ship. It was the landing of an idea that innovation no longer belongs to one region, one country, or one legacy. It belongs to whoever dares to push forward without hesitation. Europe, once the birthplace of automotive prestige, now finds itself in a moment of transformation. Its streets, once dominated by names like Volkswagen, Mercedes, and BMW, are becoming shared territory, not through conquest, but through evolution. Chinese technology, European craftsmanship, and global demand have collided to reshape the future of mobility. For BYD, this is only the beginning. For Europe, it's a wake-up call, not a defeat, but an invitation to adapt, evolve, and rebuild. The electric revolution doesn't wait for those standing still. It rewards those who move boldly, fearlessly, and without borders. The tides have shifted, but the race isn't over. What lies ahead is a world where collaboration, innovation, and vision will define the next century of transportation. The ship has sailed, the message has landed, and the future has already begun.